Hello, my name is Tyler Felix, and in this short, I will be talking about the complex and confusing worlds of the blue and green economies. I will try to inform you on the past, present, and future of both of these and of our planet as a whole. Thank you and enjoy. Let's start with the blue economy. According to the World Bank Group, a blue economy is the sustainable use of ocean resources for jobs, economic growth, and improved lives, while preserving the health of the ocean ecosystem. Human beings have been using the ocean's resources since the Upper Paleolithic era, which is more than 40,000 years ago. Just for comparison, the first Egyptian pyramids were built around 4,500 years ago. So to put it lightly, human beings have looked to bodies of water as sources of food for a very long time. Regulations, however, are a pretty recent thing. The first fishing license was given to fishermen in Guangdong, China in 1729. As early as 1871, the U.S. Congress expressed concerns that the lack of regulation in fishing and waste dumping in our oceans can potentially be very detrimental to the health and well-being of our planet. But yet the United States did not regulate fisheries and enforce catch limits until 1976. Commercial whaling in the United States was not banned until 1986. And the worst of all, the U.S. did not ban dumping trash, sewage sludge, and industrial waste into the ocean until 1988, and that law was not enforced until 1991. That's only 28 years ago. But in recent times, our culture and mindset has changed. Companies and governments have went from thinking, how can I profit as much as possible off of our oceans, to how can we sustainably make a profit from our oceans without destroying them for future generations. There are many different sectors of the blue economy: fisheries, aquaculture, coastal and maritime tourism, desalination, and maritime transport, just to name a few. Let's take a look at the EU. Since the EU started to enforce strict catch limits and other ocean-saving efforts, there was a 14% increase in jobs and overall revenue in the blue economy. It created over 3.5 million jobs in the EU, which equates to about 1.6% of all jobs in the European Union. The blue economy itself is a part of the green economy. According to the International Chamber of Commerce, the definition of a green economy is an economy in which economic growth and environmental responsibility work together in a mutually reinforcing fashion while supporting progress on social development. Let's take a walk back in time. It's the 1920s, and I'm a homesteader looking for fertile and affordable land. The Great Plains fits that description perfectly. Many people flock en masse to the Great Plains for a chance to start a new life. It was going amazing for about a decade. The land was fertile and cheap, and everyone was growing crops, and a lot of them. Too much, in fact. Due to overfarming, neglect, and just a lack of sustainability, their soil was turned into a deadly mixture. Here comes the 1930s, and what comes with it is massive droughts. Due to overfarming and almost no sustainable efforts like crop rotation, the soil was nutrient deficient and eroded. This caused the soil to go from being thick and nutrient dense to almost dust-like. Whenever there were heavy winds, it would kick up all this dust into a toxic cloud that they would call a black blizzard. This, years on, was known as the Dust Bowl. Approximately 6,500 people died, and over 2 million people became homeless. And over 100 million acres of land were destroyed. This was all because of a lack of sustainability. Everyone was short-sighted and wanted to make as much money as possible by growing as many crops as possible, and had no thought for the future. But let's jump forward to present time. The green economy has 6 main sectors: renewable energy, green buildings, sustainable transport, water management, waste management, and land management. There is a lot of job creation in the green economy. Most of these jobs didn't even exist or just weren't taken seriously 20 years ago. According to a recent survey by Suzanne Teagan and NRLE, of the 46,000 workers polled, 25% of them were wind technicians and 18% were engineers. NREL estimates that by 2030 there will be over 95,000 jobs in the wind energy field, and by 2050 there's projected to be over 150,000 jobs in wind energy. There are also lots of benefits for towns and cities to switch to renewable wind energy. The first and most obvious is job creation. An average work site for a 100 megawatt wind turbine will create 60 to 80 construction jobs and 5 to 7 operation and maintenance jobs. Next is property tax. Local governments can expect to generate $500,000 to $1 million plus in taxes for your city and town. There is also a tremendous trickle-down effect from renewable energies. It also stimulates multiple local industries such as the concrete, roads, environmental siting, and legal industries. In some cases, it can also stimulate local manufacturing. The only downfall is, right now, it is currently a little cheaper to continue using fossil fuels. But that is changing, and rather rapidly. According to the Wind Vision report done by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, by 2050, wind energy will be more viable, more reliable, and cheaper than fossil fuels in all 50 states. Wind energy in the long term will also save consumers money, due to most wind energy companies signing 20-year-long fixed pricing deals, which means no more random price spikes on your gas or electric bill. This will save consumers an estimated $280 billion by the year 2050. The years of trashing this earth are coming to an end, but we may still have to pay for our ancestors' greed and ignorance in the form of climate change. Since the 1950s, the temperature changes and warming of this planet are unprecedented in the instrumental temperature records and paleoclimate proxy records. They have not seen radical changes like this in such a short amount of time for thousands to even millions of years. But we may still have time to pull out of this self-caused dive bomb through the blue and green economies. The blue and green economies are booming, and they are expected to grow tenfold in our lifetimes. In the next 50 years, fossil fuels will become a thing of the past, along with overfishing, waste dumping, and massive carbon emissions. It is refreshing to see our planet as a whole thinking about sustainability, preserving our planet, and fixing our previous mistakes. Thank you for watching my video on the blue and green economies, and have a wonderful evening.